Hey everyone, if you've been looking at the pump lately and feeling a bit of that economic anxiety, well, you're definitely not alone. Today's explainer dives into exactly why that's happening, tracing it all back to the incredibly complex 2026 US-Iran conflict. We're going to unpack this because it isn't just some distant dispute. It's literally one of the most critical things unfolding on the world stage right now. And it really all boils down to one massive number, 20%. Roughly 20% of the world's entire oil supply passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Because the global economy is so totally reliant on this one tiny geographic bottleneck, any spike in tension there creates just massive, immediate stakes for ordinary people everywhere.
To get a handle on this, here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll cover how the fighting started, two major roadblocks to peace, the very fragile ceasefire, the global ripple effect, and finally, what happens next.
All right, Section 1, how the fighting started, the early 2026 escalation. Things escalated incredibly fast. In early 2026, the US and Israel actually attacked Iranian military and nuclear sites. Now, the US argued Iran was getting way too close to building nuclear weapons, which Iran strongly denied. The fallout was immediate. Shortly after, Iran responded with missiles and drones on US targets. Then, by mid-2026, we hit a really dangerous threshold when Iran partially blocked the Strait of Hormuz. Moving right along to Section 2, two major roadblocks to peace, specifically uranium and the Strait of Hormuz. So, the first huge hurdle is uranium. The U.S. side is insisting that Iran stop enriching uranium to prevent them from getting nuclear weapons. But on the flip side, Iran's view is that they absolutely need this nuclear tech for peaceful energy and medical research, and they want the economic sanctions totally removed. It's a massive gap. Roadblock number 2 is the physical waterway itself, the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. wants it kept totally open for international shipping. No extra restrictions, no extra fees. Iran, however, wants control and specific security guarantees in what they consider their region. That brings us to Section 3, a very fragile ceasefire, tense negotiations and mediators. Now, just a quick level set on what a ceasefire actually means right now. We're talking about a temporary reduction in fighting by both sides. It is not, I repeat not, a full arrival of peace. Diplomats are just desperately trying to stretch this pause into a lasting agreement. U.S. President Donald Trump recently mentioned there's a, quote, good chance for a peace agreement. Reports even say America actually paused a planned attack because of this progress. But he made it crystal clear. America could definitely restart military attacks if these talks fail. So that threat is very much still hovering over the table. And because there's literally zero trust for direct talks between the U.S. and Iran, Pakistan has stepped in as an incredibly important mediator. They're actually hosting talks right in Tehran, acting as this vital bridge between the two sides. But it's tense. Officials have been describing this current ceasefire stability with a pretty grim phrase, on life support. It perfectly captures how incredibly weak the peace is right now. Just one miscalculation could plunge the whole thing back into chaos. Let's zoom out to Section 4, the global ripple effect, how the world is reacting. Inside both countries, the pressure is just immense right now. In the U.S., politicians are sharply divided, and citizens are understandably really upset about rising fuel prices. Over in Iran, the pressure is severely economic. They are suffering from harsh sanctions, the physical damage from the war, and widespread internet shutdowns. And globally, the ripple effect is just wild. Israel wants the nuclear program stopped and fears Iran is just using this time to recover militarily. The Gulf countries, they are desperately trying to prevent a wider regional war and complete economic ruin. And get this, the U.S. even paused some weapons shipments to Taiwan just to focus resources on Iran. It is a massive global web. Which leads us to our final part, Section 5. What happens next? The uncertain future of the conflict. So, we're basically looking at two distinct paths from here. Step 1, the optimistic route. Successful talks lead to a longer ceasefire or even a formal agreement. Step 2, the grim route. Failed talks lead to a rapid, immediate return to full fighting. But look, underneath all this high-level geopolitics, we have to remember the human toll. Ordinary people in the region are absolutely suffering the most. We're talking about families losing their homes, their jobs, their loved ones. And of course, those global fuel and shipping issues are continuing to affect everyday life pretty much everywhere. Since nobody knows for sure how this all plays out, I want to leave you with this to chew on. Will this fragile pause actually end peacefully, Or are we going to see a rapid return to full fighting? Keep that in mind and definitely keep